What's up, fishing fans? M&B Tackle here, bringing you a recap of our 2022 fishing season, fishing the Oklahoma City Military Bass Club. Learned lots, fished a lot of new waters, great experience. Our first stop was Lake Kanawha. First time using Panoptix. We were fishing off my boat. Had motor trouble at the beginning, couldn't get the cranking battery to turn the motor over. Had to use the trolling motor for as long as possible. Ended up cutting the day short. Ended up not really getting into the spots we wanted to. Fished open water. Ended up with a 3.5 pound largemouth, wasn't too bad. And I really wish the 7 pound hybrid that I caught was a largie, because that would have been a great kickoff to the year. What are your thoughts on that lake?
Overall, I do like Kanawha Lake. It is a power plant lake, so the lake water is going to be warmer during the winter time than other lakes in the area. I had high hopes for this lake, as I do going into any tournament lake or any fishery. That the main motor not being able to start first thing in the morning kind of put a damper on everything. But you got to adapt and overcome, and we did what we had to do to at least get out there and fish. Lake Eufaula, second stop on our military bass club, almost 3 hours away. I was not able to do any pre-fishing on this lake, and I've never been on this lake. About a week before tournament time, I did have a family emergency, so I was not able to fish this lake during the tournament. So looking forward to this lake next season. It did make our list, so next season is going to be the first year being on this lake, so hopefully high outcomes on that.
Yeah, I was able to get out and pre-fish multiple weekends. Harsh waters. It's a big lake, biggest lake in Oklahoma. You get main lake with wind blowing out of the northwest, and you'll have 4-footers constant across the main lake. Found some spots, caught a bunch of nice spotted bass. Got out there on tournament day, bluebird skies, little wind, and not being able to find fish kind of frustrated me. Ended up scratching on the tournament. Just had to move on to next month. For April, we hit Sooner. So it's about 2 hours away. After going out and pre-fishing the previous lake and then not doing well, decided to go in blind. Fished some good-looking areas, lots of standing timber, shelves. April in Oklahoma is kind of a finicky time. Depending on the weather leading up to these weeks, could be spawning, lots of pre-spawn. It's just a transition time for the fish out here. Couldn't locate the fish. Ended up scratching that one too. Not the best start to the tournament season.
Never been on Sooner Lake myself. I had a lot of confidence going into this lake, as in just really upbeat, real good positive mindset. We had a game plan on what we were going to do, even though it was a new lake for us. It was tough. After talking to some of the other anglers at the end of the day, we were both right on track with throwing the right baits in the same type of cover and shorelines, and we just were not able to locate fish that day. I ended up zeroing again, so it's been a rough start for the first part of the season. Thunderbird Lake, Oklahoma. We've been on this lake before. We have spots. We know how to fish this lake. We did make a mistake in that we learned from, is after we caught a couple 2 good fish in the cove, but then we left the area to go find other fish. And I kind of look back on it now, and we should have stayed a little bit longer. The old saying is you don't leave good fish to go find good fish. So that is something that is always going to be in the back of my mind when on these fisheries.
Yeah, this was the first tournament that we had the GoPros for our channel. Like you said, we caught 2 solid bass on within what, 4 or 5 casts of each other, and we just kind of cruised right through that cove, right onto the next cove. There was a good chance there was a limit of fish back there in that pocket. The majority of this year, huge learning experiences. You know, going forward, you know, recognizing patterns, and what is it? There was also that you had one that was up on the north side of the lake, and having the GoPros really it exponentiated the rate at which we could learn from mistakes we were making. Had a bit of a hook set problem around that time of year.
Oh yeah, I did. It was bad, and without having the GoPros and looking back on videos, it might not have been recognized real as soon as it was recognized.
Yeah.
So that was always a bonus to be able to look back at footage and see where mistakes were made. So
yeah, Fort Cobb was up next. It's the lake I have the most experience out of the ones that we fished this year, or this past year. Didn't have a lot of luck catching black bass. Always have good luck catching white bass out there. They're dime a dozen. Spots we hit produced fish. We did go back through, and after learning what we did on Thunderbird, and fished that area twice. Should have changed up our presentation, I think, and because we did end up having another angler on our trail catch fish behind us. B did really well on that lake. Put 2 solid fish in the boat, and
yeah, the early morning bite was pretty good. I was running spinner bait. And you were running topwater, weren't you?
I started off with topwater, yeah.
Right, and we're just going to see what the fish were really pegging on that morning. And I got a real nice one up off the spinner bait. It was a great start. We kept going around that cove and around all the timber and everything. And I ended up catching 2 more in that area. One was a non-measurer, and then a second real nice one. And that gave me 2 nice fish to weigh in at the end, and I ended up coming in second for this tournament. So I was real happy with the progress that was made and the learning that's been done prior to that.
Then a week later, we had a team event out there, and while I was fishing out of the back of the boat, put in 2 solid fish and finished out that team event in second place with almost 7 pounds.
Foul hook. That's a big largie. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah, baby. Let's go! Yeah! Woo! Woo! That's what we're talking about.
Arbuckle Lake. It is a deep lake. Has a lot of sheer walls. Beautiful lake, full of big bass, great for smallmouth fishing, and been on this lake before. I mean, have spots, and then go out there, and 3 of my main spots already had boats on them, so I had to resort to secondary spots to fish, and I struggled with that because I wasn't able to get on my main spots, and I didn't have optional ones to fall back on. Panoptics would have been a player in this lake because of the deep water. So That is one of the goals that I do have for the 2023 season, is to get Panoptics on my boat. It is a player, so kind of looking forward to that. I did struggle, but this first year with big learning experience for both of us, and just real happy to be out there and just trying and working it.
Yeah, Arbuckle is such a tough body of water, especially with the slot limit, and with the slot limit out there, which won't be there for this coming year. You couldn't keep fish between 13 and 16 inches. I had a decent number of bites, only had one underfish to weigh in. It was right at that 13-inch mark. Had a really strong bite right at the end. Wish I would have been able to bring that fish in. Could have really changed things up, at least for the point standings. But even then, catching the slot fish, getting the bites out on a tougher body of water, really brought in a lot of confidence going into the next couple of lakes. Really only Panoptics for a little bit on a rock pile. Kind of just fished some points, and wasn't upset with the showing that I had on that lake. Our next one was Sportsman. It's a real small body of water. With the number of boats that we had out there during our tournament, after you hit your second spot, you were definitely fishing water water behind someone. Ran into people that from our club out there. Everybody was having just about the same struggles, either finding fish or finding fish that were big enough to keep. Had a 14-inch minimum out there, pretty standard for Oklahoma last year. And after hooking into my second fish, I really thought that I had a good shot at least placing in the tournament. But come weigh-in time, had another guy found a 6-pounder out deep, and he snatched it away.
Sportsman Lake, that was the first lake I had my boat out there?
Arbuckle was the first lake that you had your boat out.
Okay, so yeah, Sportsman Lake, second lake I had my boat out there. We fished this lake before. We have locations. We've located bass on this lake.
Yeah, pre-fishing was a lot stronger than the tournament time. Kind of realized that became a pattern coming into these last few lakes of the season.
Yep. I was able to hit one of the coves that we found. No other boats went back in there. The water was really shallow, 2 to 3 feet. I was able to figure out the path to get back there safely, and I caught 2 good fish sitting back there. Second fish kind of ran me into a log, and that was the end of that one. A little frustrating. I kept with it. I fished that area hard, and then caught a couple more little non-measurers. Overall, another great lake to be fishing on, and always looking forward to even going back to Sportsman, just fish it to fish it.
Yeah, I think we have Sportsman on our trail this coming year as well.
Yes, we do. April, isn't it? I believe it's the beginning.
Yeah.
Of the beginning.
May.
May.
Yes.
So that should be a pretty good time to be on Sportsman. Murray Lake, another big lake. It is full of small ones, but there is also really nice big females and males in this lake if they can be located. Getting the right weight was going to be tough. I ended up bringing in 4 for that day, and I was just missing the kicker. I could not get that fifth fish, and that kicker kind of set me back a little bit. I ended up fishing in the middle of the pack for our club, So just another solid day.
Yeah. We practiced out at Murray the week before. They're actually having a tournament the week before, and practice went amazing. Ended up catching actually my biggest bass out of Murray that weekend. Practice totaled out to be about 8.5, almost 9 pounds. Would have been second actually in the tournament they had running that day. We weren't fishing it, but tournament day for our club. First lake bringing in a limit. Caught just a ton of smallmouth. They were all about the same length. Murray has no minimum length on their smallmouth, so a lot of them they were all between 11 and 13 inches. Had just shy of 5 pounds on the day. I should have, once I caught the limit, I should have moved and searched for a new pattern. I maintained that pattern all day long. Probably caught close to 20 fish that day. As far as numbers, great day. Should have searched for the big fish though. That's what ended up taking it. Again, we had another member bring in. His was almost 7 pounds, upper 6 pound, largemouth. Fishing a completely different set of structure than I was. But I think I finished third on that one. Great fishery if you just want to go out and catch numbers. But there are solid fish in that lake if you can find them. Between pattern recognition, staying on fish till I find a limit, and being able to utilize my electronics better were the biggest things that I learned this year. And I took all those into the championship lake on 10 Killer, and as well as having some new equipment for my boat, a new trolling motor with spot lock and shallow water anchors. They played a huge part in how I targeted the fish. We're gonna have high winds that day. Start off in the morning. Gusts were already 15 mile an hour. By the afternoon, they were gonna be 30 plus. So I hit main lake points for as long as possible. If you watch the video, you can see how much the wind was throwing the boat around. I was practicing hitting spot lock anytime I hooked up with a fish, and it performed flawlessly. By far, it is a huge game changer when it comes to fishing in high winds or locking into a position in open water. Matter of fact, the first 2 fish that I caught that day were while I was trying to get my GoPro to reset and was fishing off the back of the boat. I knew after having 5 in the boat, I knew I needed some type of kicker. 6.5 pounds wasn't going to be enough. Decided to get out of the main lake, search protected pockets for some type of structure. Found some standing timber. Actually was fishing behind B, and ended up panopticing a really nice largemouth off of a standing timber for a nice 1.5 pound bump to end up in the end winning the club championship.
Yeah, M did really good that day. He stayed with his game plan, made minor changes when he had to go. This was another lake that I was looking forward to fishing. It was a very long day.
Oh yeah, three plus hours out to the lake. Another one that neither one of us had ever been on.
So winds were terrible. The afternoon it got worse. Me being a new boat owner and not having a lot of experience in high winds with the waves, I was a little concerned with my experience, but I was able to just push through it. I've learned a lot this year with the boat so far, so I just played it nice and easy, and with the knowledge that I had, and I came out all right on it. I ended up catching some fish to weigh in. One of the bad points about it is the pattern was right in front of me and I whiffed it. I totally missed the pattern. If I was able to recognize it, I would have stayed on it longer. and most likely might have came out with a little bit better showing. Um, if another, just I just enjoy being on the water and fishing, and it's just remarkable. So,
Did you bring in a limit that day, or did you end up with 4?
I think I ended up with 4 that day.
Did you? Okay.
That one's not going to make it.
Having experience with your boat plays a big part, and because he's got a really nice 21-foot Legend. I'm in an 18-foot Triton right now, and most people would think my 18-foot Triton had no business being out in the 3-foot rollers as the winds picked up, but his 21-footer would have been right at home. Probably wouldn't even gotten the deck wet. Mine had the waves crashing over the bow. It was throwing me all over the place that day.
Yeah, that's where the nice thing is. You have a lot of boat experience, so you know how to attack the waves and the wind at the right angles, and making sure that you're staying safe out there.
2022 was a really great season. As far as meeting our goals, we both wanted to finish in the top half of our point series. I think I ended up 4th, and you ended up 6th? 6th, yeah. So out of we had about 20 people in the chase for Angler of the Year. So being up in the top 10 was a fantastic year. Couldn't really be upset with the placing. Goals for next year would be to not zero on any of the tournaments. Would really like to maintain a top 5 Angler of the Year status, and we got a couple of new lakes coming up this year. A couple of lakes that we'll be returning to. Each time we get out, we learn more and more, and really looking forward to a great 2023 season.
The 2022 season, overall, I was very happy with the progress that was made just in fishing these lakes, learning new techniques with baits, being a new boat owner, learning the boat control and everything that goes along with that. One of the big things that I have on my list this year is to get a Panoptic unit for it. It's going to be a player with some of these tournaments, and I'm really looking forward to that. As Em was saying, being at least in the top half of the members for Angler of the Year. So if I could finish again within the top 10, I'm going to be real happy. I'm shooting for better than that. Always look forward to more than what the standard is. I think positive mental attitude is going to be really going to help me this year. I got frustrated a lot this year on the lakes, so I just got to maintain those positive thoughts and work through them, and learn to read the water and the shoreline and the structure a little bit, and what the bass are doing, and then pick everything up and then put some type of winning combination together.
Yeah. Stay tuned with us. More fishing to come. More information on maintaining boats, adding upgrades to your boat. Spot lock is another thing that would be a great upgrade for your boat.
Yes, it would.
I'd eventually like to, if I stay in this boat, great boat, fish is surprisingly bigger than what it is. I'd like to get a bigger motor for it. There'll be there will be cosmetic upgrades to each, and we hope you enjoy our videos and stick with us. Looking forward to the continued channel growth, and as always, thanks for watching.
Thanks, everyone. We appreciate you.